Right, just like welcome into this short introduction. Well, it's only short because not that much to know really. It's just just to give you a bit of a guide about deflation. Sorry. Now, what is deflation? It's basically the opposite of inflation. So we know that inflation is a general rise in the average price level. So the opposite of that would be a general fall in the average price level. So that's our definition. So general fall in the average price level. You have to say average price level because we're talking about the whole economy. Price. So a general fall in average price level. Now you could say, if you wanted to, that obviously that's not a too marked definition. It's just the bare bones of what deflation actually is. So if the price level is falling, people feel more wealthy, and they would spend more. However, they will wait for prices to drop even more than they would do before they start spending. So even though consumers' wealth would increase, their spending would decrease because they're waiting for it to drop even further before they start spending. And you just get a never-ending spiral of let's wait a bit longer. So in essence, aggregate demand decreases. So you could say that, but I'm just going to leave it because I need a bit of space to carry on the introduction. So there's two types of deflation you need to know about. There's something called benign. So excuse my spelling, benign and malevolent. Now, what are these two types of deflation? Apart from different worded types of deflation. Well, they're caused by different things. That's what we need to know. The main thing. Benign is basically it mainly stems from increase in technology. So let's put increase in tech. You go, well, how can that cause deflation? Well, that's a good question. But to answer your question, if an increase in technology occurs, then we have. If you go out and buy a TV today, that TV is going to be the epitome of the technology at the moment in the current world. So, as we were saying before, benign is basically an increase in technology. That's how it's caused benign deflation. Now, benign deflation, you go, well, how can an increase in technology cause deflation? I mean, it's just a TV or an iPad or an iPhone or a tablet or a computer. So I'll try and explain it to you in a way that you might understand. So if you go and buy a TV today, that is the epitome, the best that certain companies have to offer today in today's world. But if you go maybe in a year or two, that TV or that camera or that tablet, iPad or whatever may no longer be the epitome, the best that the technology world has to offer. I mean, it's constantly changing all the time. So that means people aren't going to want that. So to shift that, firms are going to have to say, well, we'll lower the price of that good or electronical device, mainly, as I said, technology. So if they lower the price, then that's our definition, a bare bones definition for deflation. So that's how benign deflation occurs. And now, as we said, that's only to do with technology. It's not to do with the whole economy, the wide range of goods and services that we have on offer in our economy. So it's not such a bad thing, as it only affects one general specific area of the market that we of the economy even. So we don't really need to worry about that one. However, malevolent, if I'm saying that right, is a lot more of a worry for economists in today's world, because it's when it's when the supply of money decreases. Now this means basically when aggregate demand decreases. Well, now your formula for AD, which is equal to C plus G plus investment plus net exports, which is X minus M. And that gets you your main part of your aggregate demand formula. So each one of these, so if the supply of money decreases, aggregate demand decreases, so you have these components of aggregate demand decreasing. So that's basically the supply of money decreasing. I just put supply of M because I need the space and I'm quite lazy. So supply of money decreases. So if aggregate demand decreases, well, let's just say consumer expenditure, for example. So if aggregate demand decreases, we can assume that consumer expenditure will decrease, and that is likely to be the case with deflation, because people are waiting for the next lower price and etc. etc. as the price gets lower. So consumer spending decreases, and if consumer spending decreases, firms think, well, there's not an opportunity for me to invest. Well, there is, but they're going to make less money off it, and it's going to be less profitable, because whatever they invest, they're not going to get the same demand they would have before deflation. As new products are being developed and sent out to the general public, people aren't going to be demanding their products if deflation, because they're waiting for the next drop in price. And you know, firms are like to have to sell goods for less than they originally bought them for, as the prices it keeps dropping. So, because by the time they're getting out to the public, it's probably going to be less. So we can say that investment decreases. So that's one thing we can say for certain. Now, if investment decreases, as we said, this is because there's less demand out there, so the sales revenue is going to be less, and therefore we can say the return on capital, ROC, decreases, because return on capital is your net profit over your your investment capital times 100. So if the sales revenue decreases, your net profit is going to decrease. So your return on capital, if it's the same as it was before, is hence going to decrease. So hopefully see why that decreases. So if the return on capital decreases, yeah, as we said, it kind of goes before, but it doesn't matter which way around you put these two. Profit decreases, as we said, for profit to decrease, consumer expenditure decreases. So you could have put these anywhere. Doesn't matter which way. If you put it there, if you put profit there, if you put it there, it really doesn't matter. It's not switching them two around. It's just you can put profit there or there. It doesn't matter. Just as long as you include it in your explanation there. Now, that is sort of the main consequence of deflation. Let me just see if there's anything else I need to go over. Yeah, so obviously the government's going to want to step in and stop deflation if it's got these many bad consequences. So, if you've got the aggregate demand increasing, your investment decreasing, your return on capital, your profit decreasing, you're just going to a never-ending spiral of economic that's the word. It's not destroyed, you know what I mean. Something beginning with D. It doesn't have I in it somewhere. Okay. So that's So how can the government weigh in is what we're going to say. The government can weigh in by increasing its spending. So increase government spending, as it's one of the factors of aggregate demand, you increase aggregate demand. I mean, seems simple enough. It's a factor, so if you increase that and the rest of them stay the same, you're going to increase the aggregate demand. Well, if this increases large and decrease in aggregate demand, no. As long as you increase government spending, you're going to increase aggregate demand, so you're okay with that. So the government can either increase aggregate demand, by increasing government spending, or it can reduce tax. And obviously, if you reduce tax, consumer disposable income is going to increase the consumer, so your aggregate demand will increase as consumers are likely to spend more of their income, so that takes you back to that. So hopefully that's a short introduction to deflation. I hope you've got it. There's not much more to it than that, that's just a quick introduction. and a quick guide to it. So, yeah, enjoyed.